G'day guys and welcome, my name is Michael and I am the DeadAussieGamer, or at least I am the hands of the DeadAussieGamer. Hello! And today we are back with another Heroforge review. This time we are reviewing the results of our series, it's on that side, there we go, Legendary! Which of course was a series that we ran on our Twitch channel where we sat down with you guys in the audience and we built a bunch of Heroforge minis. Now these Heroforge minis have just arrived and I'm super excited to show them to you guys so that we can review them, see how they went, because one of the things we were doing was trying to test out a bunch of the new decals and assets and stuff and give you guys an honest opinion, an honest look at what you get when you order them. So that's kind of what this whole thing's about. As you guys know, I am of course sponsored by Heroforge, so do take everything I say with a grain of salt. That being said, I always try to be as candid as possible, so you're going to get an honest opinion on everything I think, yeah, basically because that's what I do. Okay, so without any further ado, let's kick this off because I don't want this video running for half an hour like we did last time. And we are going to start off with our first mini, which is of course our Halfling Dinosaur Wrangler. Now, the things that we did here was, for the design we created, we wanted to try out some of the new splash effects. So as you can see on the face, we got like some of that black smudge, some's ended up in the hair and stuff like that. Because at the time, though now it is actually available, there wasn't anything to really decal the face in too much detail. Now, of course, they've got stubble and they've got makeup and they've got like things you can do this with. So we just used blood splatter and just colored that black for the time being. We also added in some blood splatters on the spear here, as you guys can see. So yeah, we just wanted to kind of just see how much detail it gets into. Now we made it a halfling, so that was really, really small, just to kind of see exactly how detailed it can get on the smallest type of minis. So this is literally like one of the hardest things to get blood splatter effects to show up on, and this is what we ended up with. So let's take a quick look. Look at her. Isn't she adorable? She's amazing. So you can see there's a slight bowing on the spear there, but that's fine. That's, you know, not terrible. It's just there. But let's now take a nice close look at what we ended up with. There we go. Nice, good focus there. All right, so we've ended up with some pretty cool stuff here. So let's start with the spear. The spear is, as you can see, nice and clear when it comes to the exactly how much blood splatter is on there. It is on both sides of the spearhead, which is great. So nice, clear. For the want of it, I have no issues at all with how that came out. As for the face, we can see there the face has come through. You can see the blood, the splatter has gone into the hair like we did on the mini. So let's just zoom in and take a look there. So as you can see, we've got that nice comparison there between the hair and the splat. And the streak's gone quite nice. The eyes. The eyes are kind of there, which is good. I mean, obviously, you're not going to get that level of detail that we've got in the Heroforge builder in the mini, but they're kind of pretty clear about it now. Also, the vibrancy is a little different, which I did forget. So we've used some leaf colors for the earrings there. Probably my biggest regret there is I probably should have used something brighter for the earrings, but, you know, it still came out pretty nice. Still came out pretty nice there. Then we look on the other side of the face. We turn the other cheek, as it were. And looking at this side for the blood splatter, as you can probably see, there isn't really as much detail there, especially around the forehead. Though there is some. You can see there's a couple of speckles there, and there's that little blob on the cheek and stuff. So things that are prominent, you can see quite clearly, but things that are, you know, kind of a little bit more fine and misty, we're not really getting that. I'd also like to take a moment to point out the frickin' this guy. Look at this guy, little dragon that we used, because we didn't have any dinosaurs, so we made a dragon. I just want to say the actual coloration on the dragon egg was spot on. So we used like the skull colors, and that kind of looks like, kind of has that eggshelly look as well. So, as far as the review goes, it is a sturdy mini with one exception. That exception, obviously, quite clearly, the spear. As you can see here, if I apply a little pressure, you can see that not only does the spear move quite a lot, it moves the actual forearm as well. So too much pressure there or on the other side, and that is going to snap just above where the wrist weight is. This is not, however, Heroforge's fault. This is more my fault. I did make a very, very tiny mini with very thin limbs. In hindsight, what I probably should have done is added or made that base of the spear touch the base so that it was one solid structure. So remember, guys, that, you know, there's only so much Heroforge can do, but it came together in one piece, which is what I was looking for. The splatter effects were very, very clear and very succinct, and yeah, I quite like that one. Let's put you here. You can stay there on screen. Okay, so cute, love it. All right, our next contender after our lovely halfling was our Owlfolk. Now the Owlfolk was great. I thought the Owlfolk, we wanted to play around with the luminescence and the lighting, and that's exactly what we did. We also added in some more blood splatter on the moon, just so that we could, like, you know, make it a lunar orb that's glowing. And what we ended up with, dun 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 dun. All right, as you can see, we got more or less exactly what we paid for. We got the very, very owl-looking oracle type character. Let's zoom in here real quick. Just get some. Oh God! Sorry. Ugh. There we go. Wrong button. Wrong button, Michael. There we go. All right. So, as far as illumination goes, you can see that just underneath the chin there is that slight blue. And if you look carefully, now keeping in mind I don't actually have a blue light here. The second series of segments on the chest, they are quite clearly blue. Whereas if I tilt that to the side, you can see that it has that silver color as well, which you can see is the same silver I used for the back and for the base. So you can tell that there is, of course, a very, very clear lighting source there, which is great. The lighting source, I think we had at 25%. So you don't actually need that much light in order to have an effect here. Subtle effects work really, really well. The other thing we did was, as I mentioned, the splatter effect, and that actually has impressed me. The fact that there is that gray splatter that just looks really nice is absolutely beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. That is a very, very kick-ass lunar oracle right there. Also a happy accident, the eyes. I made the eyes for this particular individual. Nope, come back here, you. Kind of like that, like dark with reflections in it, because, you know, I wanted it to be a Moonstruck oracle. You know, obviously when you're looking at eyes, it's always going to be a difficult thing to weigh up. But I think the larger the eyes, the better off it looks. And yeah, the owl eyes came out really, really nice. So again, another roaring success there. And as far as, you know, just the model in general, I love the detail on the tiling. The tiling actually came out super nice. I wanted to put stuff on the base, but then I thought against it. I added in a marble color around the rim, and it just kind of gives it this very kind of like, you know, it gives it that very sage, very oracle kind of feel. So very happy with that one. But it's not my favorite. My favorite is to come. My favorite is to come. Ooh. And we are going to save the best for last, so do stick around. All right, our next one we made during Pride. And that is this individual here. So we made a non-binary water Janasi, who we wanted to make like kind of a water pirate. As far as testing out stuff goes, we wanted to just throw in a bunch of colors. We wanted to make this as vibrant and as pretty as possible. So we added in tons of colorful mushrooms. We added in a backlight. So you guys can see on the front of her, you've got that purple light, and then on the back, it's kind of not there. So I wanted to see what would happen with that. Same thing with the lighting on the torch, you know, just see what happens with that. We also used a couple of multiple different types of shades of different things. So we used like crystal red, and then we used like a steel red, and then we used, you know, yeah, just to play around with stuff to just see how varied the colors can be. And this was the result, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get that focused in, shall we? There we go. Beautiful. Look at that. Okay. So, to begin, I've got to say this. I think the vibrant colors definitely make this thing pop. Like, I just love how, like, you've got the deep colors, like the blues and the purples that kind of, create that kind of multi-layer thing. And then you've got, like, the vibrant, like, blues and yellows and pinks of the mushrooms. Followed by, like, of course, as you go higher, the brighter colors, like the white sleeves and the orange headband. It actually came out really, really nice. Now, positives. The lighting effect is absolutely spectacular. I love it. And it's so subtle, but it's beautiful. So if you look at the very, very front of the mushrooms, right, there is a slight purple hue to it. And if I turn this around, you can see that purple hue is gone, and it's now back to that kind of black and dark, grainy rock kind of area. So it's very subtle, but it's made that kind of underground area just sort of really stand out in a way that I was actually hoping for. So, yeah, no, very, very pleased with how that turned out. The other thing was, of course, the torchlight. Now you can see where the pickaxe is. It looks okay. I mean, look, it's clear that that's what the discoloration is on the pickaxe, because if I turn the pickaxe around, you can see that there's no discoloration there. So that's the effect of the light. You can also see, let me get nice and close here. There we go. So if you see nice and close, you can see the back of the head. There's a little bit of that orangey yellow that's coming up next to where the bandana's yellow is as it blends into the back. You can also see the hair has got some of that yellow as well. And that sleeve right next to the backpack strap, I love that effect, though. The one that it actually looks like there's a torch there. It looks like there is actually a light source. So having light sources be an actual part of your character's model is just, it's very exciting. It's very exciting. Probably the only thing I'd say that was a little bit strange was the facial expression. Not because of how it looks, but let me just, again, zoom in here. So let me get nice and close. There we go. All right, so nice and close. Look at that. Okay, so if we look at the my character, I had kind of a purplish blue lip line, and I think it may have been because of the way the lighting hit it or something. But I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but that kind of looks a little reddish, almost like a red color. But I think I don't know if that's just a product of the printing or how it came out. But just be aware of that. That's just something that happened with that. I'm not angry about it. Just statement of fact, calling it as I see it, and I see that as red. Maybe someone else sees it as different. Maybe someone else saw it as purple. If you did, let me know. Man, look at these guys. Aren't they pretty? Aren't they pretty? They're so amazing. All right. So, we're 13 minutes in. Okay, I need to keep up. All right. So, that was that one. Next up, of course, was this actually turned out to be probably one of my favorite characters to build. We made a Sapphire and Ruby Dragonborn. One thing we wanted to look at is the gemstone textures on a bigger scale. Now, gemstones are so easy to use on things like, like jewelry and tools and items and stuff like that. But this was a great opportunity for us to be able to see what you could do with it on a bigger scale. Haha, pun intended. So we ended up making this character. We also gave him a little squirrel. No reason, just, squirrels are cute. I think the story for him was he was a druid, so we thought, make him a druid. We also added in lots of different leaf textures that were slightly different. So one thing I wanted to test here was just to see if the Heroforge printers could handle just the multitude of, very, very subtle color changes. And what we got was, let's just zoom in nice and thick there. There we go. All right. Now hold it still, Michael. Well, as you can see, we use the highest quality technology so that you guys can see what these look like. There we go. Look at that. All right. So, first thing I've got to say is the actual leaves and stuff like that. Not only are the leaves coming through, but that actual highlighting in the center of each of the leaves has come out as well. So that detail is nuts. The bark and the vines that we ended up with, which you can kind of see on the back there. Again, just a crazy amount of detail. Even subtle differences like the different types of light beigey color that we had for the little loincloth thing at the back was great. And you can actually see there the stripes and other patterns came through even underneath those like underneath the leggings and stuff like that quite clearly. Now, onto the meat and potatoes. As you can see here, I think that gemstone look actually came out not only like really clearly, but actually it's probably better than the actual skin and scale tones. I honestly think that I will be from now on just using gemstones for my dragon scales, because it highlights all the deep recesses with that kind of like dusky hue that looks super nice. And then when you darken it up with like, you know, the, as you can see, the other, you know, sort of darker gemstone colors, it creates just this beautiful pattern, this beautiful kind of blend, which I think comes best in the horns. Let me see if I can get in closer with the horns. There we go. Yeah. So you can see those horns just go from being that light blue, streaking back into that, just that really nice, vibrant ruby red. So, yeah, like, honestly, like, I hadn't considered it before, but I don't think I think going back, I would never use another non-gem texture for a dragon for printing, that is. You know, I mean, look, if I was looking at the dragon here, I mean, he looks a little bit weird because he's got that kind of gem sheen, right? And, but I think, yeah, that because that sheen doesn't come through, it actually muted in a good way, in probably the best way, to be honest. So there's that. Now this one is a little bit bigger than the others, so this one does have the good old height advantage. It wasn't quite as big as the other one I made when we were stress testing. Yeah, he wasn't quite as big as the one we made when we were stress testing. So the eyes and a few of the other details, especially for the dragons, that don't usually come through, didn't come through here. Like, you know, if we look at the eye, for example, let's get in as close as I can. Hello. There he is. Okay. Zoom. Enhance. Enhance. There we go. All right. So, as you can see there, the eye didn't really come through, but we've still got that kind of light coloration there. So there is something to it, just not obviously what you'd expect to see in the Heroforge. In the Heroforge browser, right? So just bear that in mind as you take that in. That you know, especially the newer of the dragon faces and the lizard faces and stuff like that. That is what you will. You know, I'm going to put you at the back. There we go. That is what you will end up with. Yeah, there we go. Look at that. Okay, the next one up is probably my favorite mini that came through. And that is, of course, this delightful character. This came out surprisingly well. It was a Drow, what was it called? Faedar. That was it. A Faedar Warlock who is a Drow who was raised by the Sirens of the Fey world and lived in the deep waters beneath the Faedar. It was kind of like a kind of a companion character to the pirate that we made. So yeah, one thing we looked at was obviously the highlighting, the eye colors and stuff like that. We added in some spots in between the leg just to kind of see how that works. And yeah, I mean, honestly, it was just a super cool character. This, ladies and gentlemen, was the end result. Let's zoom that in real quick. There we go. Look at that. All right, there we go. All right, so the end result was actually really nice. Obviously, nothing's glowing because they don't have LEDs in these minis yet. But look at that water effect. You know, this was Mana Potion. Mana Potion is like the best thing for Underdark water. I then mixed it with like the tar bottle color, which then went into like the Mad Alchemist green kind of thing. And these tentacles just look awesome. Just look great. There was a little overhang on this tentacle here. You can kind of see it there. But, I'm not worried about that. That looks perfectly fine. Going back to what I was saying about the glowing effects, if we look in close to the face, you can still see the spots among the dark tones. Let me just get that in. Actually, let's see if I can get that right up and close. Sorry, there's very little light near the camera at the moment because otherwise I'm going to blind you, but there we go. Okay. So as you can see there is still like, you can see the spots. There we go. Beautiful. So you can see the spots on the shoulders and there. The eyes kind of didn't really come through. You know, you can kind of see them a little bit, like at like literally the right angle with a high definition camera. You know, you can see them, which is fine. You know, like again, like I said, some high detailed facial features sometimes just don't quite make the cut for what you're chasing. But nonetheless, I think the actual spots that came up, such as the ones on the back. I mean, look at that one. That one was just awesome. This was just so pretty. The spots that came up on the back were just perfect. Just absolutely perfect. Look at that. Yeah, they were great. And as we previously mentioned, the spots in between the dress, they came through. So they actually managed to get in there with the colorations as well. So that was, I wasn't sure if you know, like that was them making something and being like, hey, this is a really cool asset that we can add to our Heroforge, you know, list of stuff. Or if they turned around and said, hey, I bet people will think that we can't like do tattoos and stuff in there. But they did. They did it. All right. Here we go. Moment of truth. Now, for this, I'm going to actually move this away because we need some space for this. Okay, moment of truth. Here it is. It's in this hand. It's in this hand right here. This is the one that we used transparent plastic for. So the model that we made was this one here. So we, as you can see, we used transparent plastic for the chains. We used it for the base of the smoke on these, for the legs, for the neck, for the arms, and stuff like that. Yeah, we wanted to just see what the transparent plastic looked like. This is only available to the Kickstarter backers. So everything else, if you have a pro membership, which is only like $50 for a year, then you will be able to do pretty much everything we have. But this is still in the works. This is still like kind of like, you know, you have to kind of have the right connections to get into this. This is a in-person. This is a you know, honest to God viewing of what Heroforge can do with the transparent plastics. Here it is. Here we go. Okay. Look at that. But Michael, it's a model. How will we know if it's transparent or not? Well, I've got your thing right here. Thankfully, I have a friend of mine who has a small child, and that small child collects these things called LOL dolls. And do not ask me why or, you know, what started happening in society that has allowed for this, but they came with a little blacklight. And what I have discovered is that if one were to hold a blacklight to a segment of a miniature that has transparent properties. Actually, let me get a bit closer here. That way you guys can actually see what's going on. All right. So you can already kind of see that. You can already see that the arm is transparent and stuff like that. You can see that the chains and stuff are transparent, right? Maybe his glorious thighs. Maybe they're a little bit trickier to see. All right. But the cool thing is, if I use a black light, it actually refracts the lighting and gives it a kind of a bluish color. Come on, Michael, you can do this. There we go. Come on. There we go. Yeah, so you can kind of see the blue light is going through that arm. Look, okay, this is as good as it's getting. Okay, let's see. I think I can also do it to the legs too. So if you look at the legs, there you go. Ah, beautiful. There you go. Ha ha. Okay. So yeah. So as you can see there, transparent plastic is transparent, which looks very cool. I also did transparent plastic for the neck, the nape of the neck, as I mentioned, which, you know, you can still see as transparent plastic, but I feel like I wasted someone's time on that. It's very hard to see that bit. So yes, that transparent plastic came through really, really nice. It's very pretty. I feel as though this model may possibly have wasted it a tiny bit, only because I wanted to see more. So it was really cool. It came through very, very clear on the chains and on the body parts. It didn't come through too clearly on the wisps because I used the bottom of the wisp as the transparent plastic, not the top. That, I think, was my fault. I think I needed to go the whole way through because only the big one showed up. The small one just isn't transparent. So there is a limit to what it can do. Also, once again, we used the lighting effect, which you can see on the shoulder pad there. You can see that kind of blue glow on one side, which I think just made it really dynamic. And this is actually a pretty terrifying customer, so I'm very, very entertained by the premise of this ghostly character. What I'd probably like to do next time is maybe have a character who I use the bloodstain splatters to like kind of make it like half camouflage. Maybe make a character who's going invisible rather than a person who is entirely invisible or you know, entirely not. So so you know, that's exciting. Maybe it'll be something. Maybe it'll be something in season 2 because we will be doing a season 2 of Legendary, which will be on my Twitch channel at twitch.tv/DeadAussieGamer, where you guys actually will design and make Heroforge minis, which we will then print and review. We have criteria, of course, like, you know, we want to explore and see some of the cooler and more awesome things that Heroforge has started doing. And yeah, so long as we do that, we'll keep showing you guys what is up and what these things actually look like. So thank you so much, everyone, for coming and hanging out with us today. I hope that this video was informative and that you guys got to, you know, get a good look at these things compared to, of course, the miniatures and the like. If you have any questions, please hit me up in the chat. Let me know what you think. Let me know if there's anything you'd like me to test out, because, you know, that's kind of how I create my criterias. Yeah. So thank you very much, everyone. If you haven't done so already, please go, once again, go check out Heroforge. And if you haven't done so, the $50 a year subscription is, seriously, it's silly not to have it. Just do it. It's fine. All right. Thank you very much. Until next time, as always, from me to you, game hard or die trying. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.